Ladies and people, this is my fucking podcast. Let's fucking go. Can't be bothered doing the intro. So today I'm joined with my girlfriend Imogen, and we're gonna do. Hello, by the way. We're gonna do a little advice session for some of you who are a little less experienced. So we went on Reddit. Favorite place on the internet.
You're actually very appropriately dressed. I'm dressed.
I've worn
Reddit.
my fedora so to match Reddit. I don't have a neck beard, unfortunately. I just have a normal beard. But jokes aside. We went on Reddit, and there's a lot of communities that have a lot of very, very, very inexperienced guys asking a lot of beginner questions.
Yeah.
And so I don't tend to answer, or my topics are for those of you who are a little further along than like complete beginners, like complete and utter beginners. There are a lot of concepts that you guys sort of take for granted, that we all sort of take for granted. But I thought it would be fun to, I guess, challenge myself and reach out. Because I'm a magnanimous, wonderful, kind, gracious God, I thought that I would reach down and help out some of the newbies and answer some of their questions. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a bit of fun here today.
Okay.
This question here, I'll put it up on the screen. So I'm going to do this over the next couple of weeks, I guess. I'll do a couple of these, and maybe you'll come on for some of them. Maybe I'll do them by myself. But I'm going to answer some of these like really, really, really beginner questions and have a bit of fun with them and talk about topics that I might not normally talk about. I don't ever cover things like text game for a million different reasons, but lots of these questions are on that. I don't cover very basic questions like, how do I get a girlfriend? Like, I've never had a woman before. I sort of cover more self-improvement side of things rather than like, there's this girl I like, what do I do? My answer is just go and fucking talk to her. But some of these questions are a little bit more like average guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
I guess
normal guy sort of questions rather than self-improvement questions.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the time you tend to speak to people that know your content or at least have some experience and a general understanding of the concepts that you teach, like the very basic stuff of just like improve yourself, and then you will attract women as long as you go out there and like put yourself out there and speak to them.
And you can get pigeonholed into that, and you don't reach out and like reach a new audience. So that's what this is.
Yeah, and it's basically talking to the people that might not have a grasp of the things that a lot of, I'm sure your audience take for granted in terms of knowledge.
Yeah, so anyone who's listening who is in the stage, maybe like this question here, or you're a little, you're not quite as far along as some of the stuff that we talk about. These podcasts are going to be a little bit more geared towards you. We'll do them in a very welcoming and kind way. We're not going to mock anyone who doesn't understand some of the concepts that we all take for granted. We'll be very nice about it. But, I thought it might be nice to talk about some of the more beginner stuff. So I'll read parts of this question out. I think the way we'll do it is I'll read it out. And if we want to interrupt and talk about something as I read, I won't necessarily read the whole question. So,
do you want me to remind you when we finish reading the question to go for? Because I feel like we always forget to like...
Sure.
Afterwards.
So this was on Reddit. It was on r/seduction. Is that right?
Yes.
So r/seduction, big subreddit, but most of the questions are very, very, very newbie questions, like very newbie. Like a lot of them are kids that are in like, almost high school. I don't know if they're actually in high school, but it reads like that. Or guys who are just in early university and very like early on in their self-improvement journey, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and I think something that's also worth mentioning with this particular subreddit, like this community is very big. It's like it is the pickup community.
This is 100% pickup community.
Into like game and tactics and all of that sort of stuff, because you actually got me to find some of the questions.
Yep.
And I don't pride myself, but I feel like I actually am around a lot of the terminology because obviously I'm in that space with you, but there were a lot of like acronyms and things that I didn't actually know, and I was like, oh no, there's still plenty that I'm not aware of.
A lot of this you have no idea. Like, what the fuck does this mean? And so a lot of this will be using a lot of pickup artist lingo and stuff that we don't really like. Sometimes we joke about it and we mock it a little bit and we tease it, but like as long as someone's, let's say the caveat, as long as someone's working on themselves and they're working towards a genuine goal and stuff, like, I respect that. So read the question. How the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? Fuck man, I want to riff just off that. If you're phrasing it like that, there's like 7 things going on here. If you're saying, how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? You've built that into a massive mountain. and you've made it this big difficult thing, and the reason why you haven't, or a big reason why you haven't had a girlfriend yet, is because you've built it up into this big, massive, big deal. I did a podcast called Stop Looking at the Mountain. So go on my YouTube channel and search for Stop Looking at the Mountain. And I talked about when you have a goal and you make it into this big, scary thing, you make it infinitely harder to actually achieve that thing because you see it as a big, scary thing. And what does your mind do? It wants to procrastinate. If instead you make it less of a big deal, and you sort of have this almost abundance mentality about it. You're like, oh, I can get a girlfriend anytime I want to. I just have to put in some effort. Like, there's women all around me. Of course one of them's going to like me. I haven't found one yet, but one will. I know there's plenty of women out there that will like me. You get a girlfriend infinitely easier. You're not making it a big deal.
Yeah, the question itself is laced with like a bit of hopelessness, almost as if it's like this impossible thing and I've struggled and I just can't do it. Like, how the hell can I finally you know, it's some...
The word finally is very telling, isn't it? Yeah.
That I've been struggling with this for... There's definitely
and
that.
how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? It's... Funnily enough, I don't think this guy's going to watch this. It would be cool if some people would watch some of these.
Some of these questions are pretty old, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the way these subreddits work and the way Reddit kind of works in general is I can't just post the link to this video on there and be like, here you go, I answered your question. That seems perfectly rational, right? A lot of you are like, why don't you just send them the question? It's like, because we get banned from the subreddit. We've been banned from subreddits and made new accounts and been banned again and made new accounts and banned.
And self-promotion.
For spamming. And it's like, but I'm answering this dude's question. What do you mean? How's that fucking spamming? So, yeah, I don't think the guy will watch this, but if he does... It's like the first thing I'd do is I would rewrite the question or reframe it in your brain and stop saying like, how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? Just say like, all right, well, I don't have a girlfriend yet. I'd like one day. I'm going to get one. Funnily enough, the first thing I would tell this guy is I would say, go and grab the book by Byron Katie called I Need Your Love. Is that true? Read that fucking book because that's exactly what's going on here. There's this just like reeks to me of, you know, I need to solve this. I need women to make me happy. I need to finally get a girlfriend. Rather than just like, oh, you know, I don't have a girlfriend. Kind of bums me out a bit. I'd love to have a girlfriend. I want to lose my virginity. That'd be sweet. It's a lot less... You're making it into a much bigger deal with the phrasing of this. So I'd read that book. Anyone else listening who's in the same situation, read that book. And I would reframe it in your head and make it less of a big deal because then the barrier to entry is lower. You're saying, oh, I just got to get a girlfriend. Yeah, I can do that. Plenty of people have girlfriends. Look for the evidence around you that other people can get a girlfriend, which they obviously can. You can obviously get one too. Look for other people who've been in the same situation as you and who have overcome it. There's plenty of stories on my website and my podcast. There's plenty of other stories out there. Look at friends in your own life who've overcome their virginity. Not that it's something to overcome, but you know, who've had sex with a woman and they go, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. So lower the barrier to entry, make it something that's easy to do rather than like, oh my God, like how will I ever finally get a fucking girlfriend? The question is phrased like an incel, and that is not an insult. I'm not saying that as an insult. When I say the word incel, I don't mean it in the way that, so maybe I won't use that word because...
I think it's very loaded at this point in time.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, the word has been ruined. I don't mean incel like, oh, look at that incel loser. Like, that's not how I mean it. I mean it as like someone who hasn't currently gotten laid yet when they want to.
Yeah, which is the definition.
Yeah. It's phrased like that. It's phrased kind of a guy who like doesn't, you know, he's very frustrated and angry and bitter, and it's like, that doesn't help you because, again, you're just making it a harder thing in your mind. Make it less of a big deal. So I'll keep reading. So male 21 here, and 21 is not old to have not lost your virginity. I didn't lose mine until 19. Plenty of my coaching clients, God, how many of them are in their 30s and they haven't lost their virginity? So 21 is not old at all. But I understand the pressure that we put on ourselves, especially as men. So for a little bit of context, I've never dated before. That's like really fucking normal. Never kissed, really fucking common. Virgin, blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you see how, and lots of virgin guys do this. I think, you know, most people do. They make it a big deal. They're like, I've never kissed, I've never dated. And it's like, yeah. What do you mean? That's like saying, okay, fine, I've never won a marathon before. I've never fucking won a gold medal at the Olympics. I've never successfully won a food eating competition.
Sure, but I would say all the things that you listed aren't that common, whereas I think a lot of people would say, like, a good percentage of people have lost their virginity by the time they're 21. I think there's...
Yeah, but not such an insane amount that you're like 1 in fucking 15,000.
Sure, yeah. 21 still
That's
pretty
my point. You're freaking out of... And even if you're 30, it's like, cool, then I just have a slightly different path to everybody else. So I wouldn't be sitting there going like, oh my God, I've never been kissed, I've never dated. It's like, yeah, you just haven't done it yet. It's not a reflection of you as a person. You just haven't done something yet. In the same way, that's why I said the example of like, I haven't run a marathon yet. It's like, yeah, you haven't tried. Or you haven't fully gone all in with it. So he said, I used to be kind of depressed in my teens, so I missed out on a lot. There you go. That's your fucking explanation. So there you go. That's your explanation. And the reason that I'm pointing that out is like, yeah, don't make it a big deal. It's like, oh, I was just depressed, and so I didn't date anyone, didn't lose my virginity, but I'm ready to now. I'm ready to kick some ass and go out there and yeah, cool, let's go. Like rather than saying, oh, I'm 21 as a virgin. It's like, who gives a shit how old you are? Like you're ready to go now. That's all that matters. I don't know if I should mention that I'm short. Well, why? You're not going to get in trouble for mentioning that you're short, but sure. He's 5'4". It's not a big deal here anyway, so maybe he's in a country where other people are around about that height.
Yeah, average height is low.
I'm skinny. And by the way, even if you're 5'4", like, there's no fucking excuse. You know, I had Ed. I did an interview with one of my coaching clients, Ed, so you can check that out on my channel. He's 5'6" in the US, where that is considered very short. And it's like, he doesn't give a fuck. Gets laid plenty of times. And he was a virgin in his 30s as well, so. And this guy is skinny. Will go to the gym. Eat more. Other than that, I can say I'm average, and therein lies the rub. So I would work on that first. I would work on, if you're identifying yourself as average, that's not a good thing. I think people say average and they mean it in a good way, because he goes on to say...
there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Rather than like, it's not it's very neutral.
Yeah.
But they're phrasing it as a positive because there's nothing wrong, therefore it must be a good thing.
And people tend to, one of my friends, Cam, or those of you would know him as Radical, Cam has mentioned this many times, that guys are horrible at self-assessment. And so a guy will say like, no, I look pretty good. And the rest of us will be like, dude, you literally dress like a 40-fucking-5-year-old dad with ripped holes in your shirt, you stink, like your hair is just a mess, you literally look like awful. And they're like, oh, come on, like, you know, I don't look that bad. And it's like, no, bro, come on. Like, guys are horrible at self-assessment. We really are fucking trash at self-assessment.
I remember going to some parties in uni.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd go around and you would ask people like what, and I think we've talked about it before, how like number ratings aren't really reliable, but we'd ask people what they thought they were out of 10. And
they're like, you know, I'm doing all right. I'm like an 8. And
I'm
doing all right. And you're like, bro, I don't mean to be like objectifying, but like if you're cracking a 5, like, you know, I got a bridge to sell you. Like you see guys that wear like fucking just horrible clothing, like haven't showered, neck beard, horribly long messy hair that they haven't washed in forever. They don't use cologne. You know, their clothes are just old and wrinkled and faded and shit. And they're like, you know, I look pretty good. This is my favorite Pokemon shirt. Like, I've had this shirt for like 14 years. Like, this, and there'll be people listening that go like, yeah, well, I have a favorite shirt. I like that shirt. Like, it's a good shirt. I look good in that shirt. And it's like, you looked good in that shirt 5 years ago when it was like relatively not fucking tattered. But the point that we're getting to is guys are horrible at self-assessment. And so if someone is saying I'm average, the first thing I would say is like, no, you're not. We both know, okay, maybe they don't know. You're probably far below what you think you are in terms of, it's not even attractiveness, it's effort. We're not talking about attractiveness here. That's almost a separate thing. We're talking about effort. And if you're saying I'm average, you are literally saying I'm complacent. Why would you be happy about being average? I wrote in my Tinder guide that at the very start, I said a lot of guys will say with their appearance and their effort and their Tinder pictures and stuff, they'll say like, you know, I'm fine. My Tinder picture's fine. My Tinder profile is fine. They'll use the word fine. And I'll say like, what the fuck are you talking about fine? Are we going for fine here? Fine is like, I'm adequate. I'm okay. And it's like, no, you're not, because you don't have the results that you want. So you're not adequate. And that isn't a reflection of your self-worth. I'm not saying you're ugly. You know, go back to the ugly club or whatever. Like, no. It's effort. We're talking about effort. So if you're saying I'm average, you know, I take care of myself. I dress and smell good. I wear some nice clothes. It's like, if that's the nicest thing you can say about yourself, rather than like, nah, man, I fucking kill it. Like, people always tell me my style is amazing. Like, you know, I put in effort. People say like, damn, dude, like nice watch, nice clothes. If you're not saying any of that, if you're just saying like, I dress and I smell good, it's like, congratulations, that's the bare minimum.
I don't smell.
Smelling good is the bare fucking minimum. I had a shower and I wore some cologne. It reminds me of that long article that I read, where this guy had talked about, this guy basically wrote a letter to people who talk sort of like this, and we're not having a go at this guy, but it was this long letter of guys that say like, but I'm a nice guy, like how come I can't get women? And this open letter basically said like, so congratulations, you're a nice guy, which is called like default human behavior. Like, all of us are nice. We're all, like, polite to other people, and we try and be nice to others, and we try and be there for each other. That's, like, default human behavior. And you're saying it like it's you deserve a gold medal or something, and you should just suddenly have women. And I don't think this guy is quite doing that, but it is worth giving him a gentle wake-up call to say, like, you're doing the bare minimum. From what's been written here, I'm average. So that's the bare minimum. I dress and smell good, and I wear some nice clothes. That's the bare minimum. That's like literally the bare minimum for even just like having friends or something, or having a decent job. Like, dress and smell good and wear some nice clothes. If you're not putting in lots of effort to dress above average, and again, you don't have to be a god, dress above average, smell above average. This guy said he's skinny. Go to the gym for 6 months and then you'll be above average. Eat a bit more food so you're a bit bigger, above average. Wear some height increasing shoes so that you're 5'6" instead of 5'4", and then you're above average. You want to shoot for just above average, and shoot for higher than that. Like, a lot of us are going for elite, obviously, but I would not be lying to yourself or almost like making an excuse sort of and saying like, but I'm average. Like, come on, like, I'm average. Like, I'm a decent guy. And it's like, mate, come on, like, we're not going for decent, are we? Or if you want to go for decent, fine. But then don't wonder why you haven't had many women in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really just going to say that I think the results speak for themselves in this particular case. That, like, if you're saying, like, there is no point arguing with reality and saying, like, but I tick all of the average boxes. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Why is this happening to me?
It's like, it doesn't matter why it's happening. Are you happy with your results? Yes or no? If not, upgrade yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very simple, isn't it? People do sort of get very frustrated and they go like, but come on, like, I'm trying, like, and it's like, but we don't care about that. We care about the results, right? Like, we care, are you happy with your sex life or your dating life or whatever it is? Yes or no? If the answer is no, try harder. If the answer is yes, I'm happy, great. Hey, cool, enjoy it. Like, it will always come back to that. It's like, I had many moments. Every now and then I still have moments. I've had a moment recently with business stuff where I get just a little, like, I start to feel like I could get frustrated. And I'm like, I'm putting in all this effort and I'm not getting the coaching clients and stuff. And then I go like, yeah, so I'm not getting the coaching clients. Try harder. What are you going to do? Cry about it? Like, try harder. That's it. That's the only fucking option. Try harder or try something else, or like, but put in more work. Don't sit there and go like, but it's not fair. Like, I'm putting in so much effort and, the coaching people aren't signing up as much as I want them to. It's like, who cares? It's not working, or it's not working to the level you want it to. Try harder. So action will always, actions always speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say, I'm considered as funny in my friends group. It's like, cool, yeah, great. That's good. But the fact that he's identifying as like, I can say I'm average, it's like, mate, that's almost an insult. Like, and so guys listening, any of you in my community, can you see how, like, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, but can you see how, like, a lot of the stuff that we take for granted, maybe other guys just haven't heard yet? And that's why I'm going to start doing more in this sort of series where I talk to, like, newbies, and I'll do some more, like, clickbait headlines. Maybe I'll stick a clickbait headline on this one to try and, like, bring in some newbies and introduce them to some of the concepts that we were given. Because, I like to be grateful for some of the concepts that I was given from Good Looking Loser, Mark Manson, Caleb Jones, Black Dragon, and some ideas that I figured out myself and from trial and error. And I think it's worth us sharing those. And one of those ideas is obviously, like, you want to be above average. Like, we're not going for fucking average. If you want average, then you're not going to get laid a lot. You're not going to have the girlfriend of your dreams. Like, how could you if you're average? We understand that and we take that for granted in this community. But I think a lot of guys don't even know that no one's told them. Like, and they've been told, lied to almost, propagandized through Hollywood, through books, through everything really, through society, through all that feel-good stuff of, like, if you're just a nice person and you're just average, like, if you just be yourself, like, you'll find the perfect girl. And especially men get told that, and it's like, if you're inexperienced and nervous like this guy is, and he just really fucking finally wants a girlfriend, and he's just going like, but I'm doing everything I was told to do. I'm nice, I dress well, I smell okay, like, like, I'm not amazing, but, like, come on, there's nothing wrong with me. Why can't I get a girlfriend? And it's like, because they kind of lied to you, man. Like, you can get a girlfriend. Let's be clear.
You can, and most average people do happen to fall into a relationship.
You'll end
with
up in a
someone
relationship,
that you
sure.
know from someone else or in a friend circle. Yeah.
But this guy basically has a question to ask himself. Do I want to be average for the rest of my life? And maybe he does. And if he does, that's fine. Most people want to be average. By default, most people say, I want to be average, don't they?
Yeah, because the latter is... Oh, sorry, the opposite is... It takes effort.
Yeah,
It is effort to not be average, because
Yeah.
the average, by definition, is quite easy to fall into.
Fucking hell.
It doesn't require doing very much, and that's why most people are able to do it. Therefore, it is the average.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's basically got to ask himself that question. Do I want to be average or do I want to be something more? If he wants to be average, sure, great. Keep doing what he's doing. You know, he'll meet a okay-ish girl. She'll be nice. She'll be average. She'll be sweet enough. Maybe she's a little bit chubby. Maybe she's not super interesting. Maybe she's not ambitious. Maybe she'll just be average, right? She'll be okay. Mm-hmm. He'll be okay, and they'll have an okay life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not even saying that there's anything wrong with that. But if he wants to be something a little more than average, if he wants to maybe even shoot for elite, or even if he just wants to be above average, then he's going to have to put in an above average effort. And that means dressing above average. That means style that's above average. That means playing the numbers game that's more above average, as in talking to enough women. It means having some hobbies that are above average. It might mean going to the gym so you look above average. If he looks average right now, he's going to get average results. And it sounds like right now he's not happy with average results. Because, by the way, guys, this is what average results looks like. It looks like you usually, as a guy, go several years without any women. One finally pays attention to you. You lock her down because she's the first person that's shown you any sort of affection. You get into a relationship. It's not usually amazing because, like, you don't know how to be in a relationship. And you're terrified that she will leave and you'll have no one else. You basically have one-itis, as they call it. You're obsessed with her as the one. And it's like an average okay relationship. And if that's what you want, go for it. But that's what you're going to get if you go for average.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee you'll get that, but like
It's
statistically speaking, you'll probably get the average, and that's the average. Yeah, the average person doesn't have an amazing, fulfilling relationship. They don't have an amazing, fulfilling relationship with themselves. As in, the average person doesn't understand or doesn't really care about self-improvement. They don't look in the mirror and go like, hey, you're all right, I like you. Like, they don't like themselves. They don't usually have goals and ambitions and stuff like that. They don't usually love their friendship circle. They like their friends, but they didn't really choose their friends. They kind of fell into those friends. They didn't really choose their job. They kind of fell into it. They definitely didn't choose their relationship. They just sort of fell into a relationship with someone accidentally. Like, people say, like, lucky. Like, I got lucky. And so if you aim for average, then yeah, you have to hope for lucky. And I would look at that and go like, that's not lucky. You're with someone that's like a terrible match for you. So that's a whole separate issue, but a whole separate conversation. So this guy basically has to decide what he wants, average or something more. If he wants average, keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to keep getting the same results. And he will eventually find a woman, probably. Most people do. But it will be average. So he goes on to say, I'm currently at college, a perfect spot to meet women. Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess it can be. I didn't say it's perfect, but I understand what he's saying. I can say I've been doing a good job. So there we go again. We've got to define terms like good job. It's like, are you happy? You're literally saying, how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? Is that a good job? So it's about self-awareness here and like using the words that you actually mean. And I bet if we got this guy to look in the mirror and say like, do you actually think you've been doing a good job? Look into your own eyes in the mirror and say, do you think you've been doing a good job? He'll be like, no. So I think it's like a little bit of self-awareness and not kidding yourself and saying like, no, I'm doing great, but I'm also unhappy. It's like those two things can't exist at the same time.
Yeah, but I can see how there's that sense of like, it feels like I'm doing like it kind of already says in the start of the question, like I'm dressing well, and like I feel like I'm doing a good job, but the results aren't matching what I would like it to be. Yeah,
and that'll just be because this guy, like a lot of other guys or maybe people in general, I don't know, have been lied to, like or led along, deceived, and you deceive yourself. You know, you swallow the beautiful, sweet lie, and if I can just be myself and do a decent job, then, you know, I'll find a nice woman. And it's like, come on, man. Like, if that hasn't happened so far, then change something. And it sounds like he wants to. That's why he's posted this question. So he goes on to say, I've made really good friends, both men and women. Yep, great, fucking brilliant. Socializing is the best first step, I'd say, if you don't know what to do. Great first step to meeting, you know, a woman. I've always been shy and quiet, but I started opening myself. Yep, fucking great. I'm really active. I play volleyball. I'm about to start going to the gym again. Okay, good man. Had to stop because I moved to another city. So whatever he's doing at the gym, though, I think he needs to switch that up, because if he's really skinny and he's been going to the gym and we don't know the full story. We're just going off like a couple of paragraphs of this guy, obviously. But I would tell him to really throw on some muscle, like make that a priority. Like hire a coach, really go hard with that shit. Coaches don't have to be expensive either, by the way. You can get ones for like $30 a week that will just tell you what to eat, tell you what to work out, all that kind of shit.
Yep.
So even if you're in university, people make that excuse. But I'm in university, I can't afford a coach. It's like, yes, you fucking can.
If you're at university, just find someone who's studying like fitness or health and get them to train you.
Yeah, for sure.
Student rates.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll probably do it for free if you do something for them for free.
Probably.
So I'm really active, play volleyball, go to the gym, blah, blah, blah. Last year, I made a good progress. So I'm really at a great spot. Okay, so there we go again with like the not quite being fully honest. And I think it's just because people are afraid to say, I need help. Or afraid to say, like, I'm not really happy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a really great spot, yet how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? It's like they're kind of contradicting each other there. And, you know, I'm not saying this guy's walking around like super depressed and he's just afraid to admit it. It sounds like he's doing all the right shit. It's just that he hasn't been told the full story, which is like, dude, if you want a decent dating life, you want a decent amount of options, you want a decent sex life, it's like you got to aim for above average. Like several times he said, I'm average, I'm doing okay, I'm good, yeah, I'm doing a good job. Like, mate, if you're not where you want to be, like keep going, like do more, upgrade, aim for a higher point. So I think he's just been sort of lied as to where that point is, and he's thought like, but I'm adequate, I'm not depressed, and I don't hate women, I haven't killed anyone, like how come I can't get laid?
But I can also say like saying that like I'm in a good spot, like nothing's wrong, like I guess
sure, maybe he means mentally I'm in a great spot.
Yeah, things are aligning, so like nothing's stopping me. I'm ready to like take the next steps.
Okay, that's a reasonable assessment. And again, guys, remember that when we read this, we're reading literally 3 paragraphs of someone we've never met. Yep. We don't know what he looks like. We know nothing. It's an anonymous person, which is why like on my forums and obviously like in my coaching programs and stuff, you have to show your fucking face. Yeah. Like we have to see who you are. You can't even sign up to my forums if you don't show a picture of yourself. Because it's like, it's very hard to give an honest assessment of someone over text when they're anonymous. So, you know, we're kind of flying blind here, but whatever. Which is why I would say, and I've said this a million times, Reddit is a dog shit place to go to if you want help with self-improvement or weight loss or getting women or business advice, anything. Don't go there. A terrible fucking place. Because people are giving you advice when they don't know you. They can't see you. They don't have any context. They don't know how you dress. We don't know what this guy looks like. We could look at a picture of him and be like, oh, dude, no, whoa, dude, we got to fix that fucking awful hair that you have. Or like, bro, no. The reason you're not meeting anyone is because you dress like dog shit, dude. Like, we got to fix that. We can't tell that.
And the other thing being the people, so this is a question put out to Reddit, and you have no clue as a person receiving answers to your question as to like what credibility the people giving you answers actually have. And so any idiot can throw out an answer that sounds great in theory but isn't actually going to help. Like there's no way to verify who the information's coming from.
And what you said is pretty bang on the money. You use the word in theory. Yes, most of the advice that you get on Reddit is like in theory. Like it's not someone that's gone out and done that. They don't have any proof. And if you're finding this channel for the first time, you're going, well, who are you? Like, bald, ginger, fuck. It's like, go to my website, search for proof. There's like fucking pictures and videos and full fucking pornos that we've done with girls that we've slept with. And we've had girls on the podcast and we've shot OnlyFans content and done all sorts of like, you know, shit like that. We've had threesomes, foursomes. So yeah, remember that when you're on Reddit, you are getting information from someone who doesn't have any proof and is usually speaking from theory. Like they haven't done the thing they're giving you advice on either.
Yes.
So he keeps going on to say, thing is, I have no idea how to escalate. Like, how do I find a girl that is interested in me? Okay, so that's a great question. So you don't find girls that are interested in you. You go and talk to a lot of women and see which ones are interested in you. What I mean by that is don't walk around like with a magnifying glass or some sort of like radar or detector going like, how can I find the women that are into me? It's like, that's not how that works. Women don't hold up a flag or a badge or a sign, or they don't write on their forehead, hey, I like you. It doesn't work like that. Yes, if they're really into you and they're confident, they might drop some hints and things like that. But it's a terrible strategy if you're trying to, you know, get laid or get a girlfriend or whatever you're looking for. This guy just wants a girlfriend. But, you know, we can have we could have a whole discussion on that. How I wouldn't recommend, if you're this needy and desperate, I would not get a girlfriend. I'd just get some sexual experience. I'd date casually. This guy is not in the position of having a girlfriend, but he's going to do what he wants to do. It's a separate discussion. girls aren't like making it obvious that they're into you for the most part.
Yeah, and I would even go so far as to say that most girls aren't even necessarily like actively seeking that out.
Correct.
And like they'll walk past, I don't know, thousands of guys a day, and if every single one of those guys asked them, they probably would have said yes to plenty of them. It's almost like you need to be given the offer to have somebody ask you, like,
Correct.
are you into me? And then to like take a second, look at the guy, see what he's like, and be like, yeah, no, like I think maybe I could be, but
yeah,
like if you don't ask, the girls aren't going to be the ones to seek you out and decide that they're into you. You need to ask, and then they can make that decision.
We've had this conversation, and let's make this a little bigger so that we're like easier to see on the screen. We've had this conversation a million times. It's like a woman's sexuality doesn't work the way that most guys seem to think it does, and I used to think the same, which is fine. A woman's sexuality is what would the word be? Reactionary. So women aren't walking around horny, looking at guys going like, oh, I hope he hits on me. He's fucking hot. Like, unless a guy is just like a fucking rock star, or like just looks like a Greek god, just like dripping in fucking oil and his abs are showing, and he's like, but there's not many of those guys walking around on the street, are there? Women's sexuality is very much like reactionary, so they respond. So if you walk up and hit on them and say, yo, you're really sexy, she starts feeling something. She feels desired, she feels wanted, she feels like, oh, that makes me feel good, I like that, okay, hey, what's up? Like, it's very much in reaction to what the guy does, which is why we say all the time, guys, you're going to have to make the move. Guys, you make the move 99.999% of the time. Yes, every now and then a woman will make the move, but you're not going to have a very, amazing sex or dating life if you sit around waiting for women to show you interest. Like, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, and I think also because it is quite passive, there would be that sense.
As in female sexuality is passive?
I was going to say, if you were a guy and waiting for women to come to you, there's going to feel like that sense of, I hope it happens. Yeah. And that can't, it can't feel good to just hope that the universe gives you what you want, and to otherwise feel like you have no control. Yeah, for sure. So you want to be making the moves. So don't sit there and wait for a girl that's interested in you. And on that point, a lot of girls, as you said, won't be interested in you until you make a move. And then you make a move, and then she goes, oh, okay, whoa, he's really confident. He made a move on me. You know what? Actually, sure, I'll give you my phone number. She would have never in a million years been interested in you until the moment you made her interested in you. I just did a podcast, an interview with one of my coaching clients, and we talked about this exact point. I said, women will go outside and like 100 people will look at them. Like, because they're just women. They exist. They're visible. They're highly there. We can see them, especially if you're even moderately attractive. Whereas men will walk outside and everyone will ignore you, and it's up to you to put your hands up in the air and say, hey, I'm here. And then everyone will look over and be like, oh, hey, how's it going? And so we're invisible by default, and it's up to us to put our hands up in the air and say like, yo, hey, notice me. And so the same thing with women. You walk up to a woman, you say like, yo, hey, notice me. And she'll go, hey, I noticed you. You're really sure. I'd love to go on a date with you. But if you don't do that, she's not walking around looking at different men. For the most part, again, men are invisible unless you're ridiculously god tier attractive, which you have to be really fucking attractive. Most men are invisible by default. It's up to you to make yourself visible. So yeah, instead of finding a girl that is interested in him, the best thing this guy needs to do is just start talking to a lot of women. It sounds like he's already fucking doing that. Yeah.
He's already made good friends, men and women.
Yeah, at least socializing and getting out there.
He just needs to say to some of these women, yo, hey, do you want to grab a coffee sometime, just you and I? Do you want to grab a drink sometime? Do you want to grab a drink on Friday night with me? And she'll be like, oh, like a date. And you can be like, yeah, if you want to, yeah. But no pressure. Do you want to? And then she says like, oh, actually, sorry, like, no. And you're like, okay, cool. Go talk to the next girl. If you're worried about doing that in your friendship circle, which, fine, that's reasonable, say to some of your female friends, and you can ask some of your male friends this as well. There's a fucking cheat code right here. Just so that, hey, do you have any single friends that you reckon would be up for, like, grabbing a coffee with me or something? Like, that's so fucking easy and, like, non-threatening and non-pressuring that most people will be like, yeah, sure, I know someone, actually. I got a friend, Sarah. Like, maybe I'll talk to her and I'll let you know. And then, boom, maybe you go on a date. It's a very easy, not low effort, but, like, low barrier to entry. Just ask all your friends, hey, do you have anyone single that would like to grab a coffee with me? I'm looking to put myself out there and meet a few people, and yeah, I'd love to grab a coffee with someone if you know anyone. If you think they're cool and maybe they're cute, and yeah, I'd love to. Boom, there you go. And on top of that, if you're like, maybe this guy isn't going to do it, I don't know, but I'll phrase this in a way that's like directed towards someone who by like literally calls themselves average. This guy's literally called himself average. Remember that you're allowed to, because he's on college, right? Is he on campus? Did I read that?
I think he's in college.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, I'm currently at college. Okay, so this guy's at college. Mate, you're allowed to go and talk to other college women, like ones that you don't know. Like a girl could be sitting there, like reading her book or something on a bench, and you're allowed to walk over and be like, hey, like what's going on? How you going? Like, what are you reading? And she'll be like, oh, hi, I'm reading this. And you can put your hand out, shake her, and be like, hey, I'm Andy. And she's like, oh, thanks, hi, I'm Sarah. And you can be like, what are you studying? And you just have a fucking conversation. And then at some point you can say like, by the way, like you seem really cool. Do you want to grab a drink with me? Or like, are you single? Would you like to grab a coffee? If she says like, oh, actually, you know, no thank you. Or I have a boyfriend. You can be like, cool, it's really nice to talk to you. You can leave. Boom. Nice conversation. She's had a good fucking time. She's like, thank you for making me feel nice. You gave me a compliment. You were very like gentlemanly and we had a nice chat. And then you left. Or she might say like, yeah, I'd like that. Boom, go grab your coffee, get to know her. The rest is kind of history. And, you know, I've got plenty of guides and stuff on my website of what to do when you're actually on a date and stuff like that. But yeah, this guy's sort of doing the classic thing of like, he doesn't even know how to begin. And so he's using the fact that he wants something as evidence that it's really hard. What I mean, I phrased that clumsily. He really wants a girlfriend, obviously. Like, what did he say? Like, how the hell can I finally get a girlfriend? He obviously really wants a girlfriend, right? And the fact that he doesn't have one yet, he's using as evidence that this is really hard and difficult and painful and suffering and why can't I have this and all of that. But it's like, the steps are very simple. You just haven't done them. And that's not a criticism. He probably didn't know what they are, which is why he's saying.
Like the question is like, how do I
what do I do?
Escalate. It's like you need to ask people to go on a date, to ask for their number.
For sure. And be chill about it. You didn't have to be some alpha male stud. Yes, most of my content, I talk about being more direct. I talk about being more explicit. I talk about being more like, you know, tell her she's sexy, like, yo, let's grab a coffee. If you're nowhere near that point, that's fine. Just have a nice conversation. By the way, like, would you like to grab a coffee sometime? You know, you seem really cool. You're quite cute. I was too shy to say that before. Please don't hate me for saying you're cute. You can go like, oh, I'm sorry, you're cute. Oh, I'm scared. And she'll be like, that's okay. Like, thank you. Like,
maybe don't shield your face.
The point is, you're allowed to be a nervous train wreck at this. And I think this guy is sitting here saying, like, what's the perfect line? Like, how do I do this? Because he even says, like, you know, I know how to talk to girls. It's like, then fucking just talk to girls, bro. Like, you're already doing it. But the fact that I'm inexperienced as hell is killing me. Like, why does it have to kill you? What do you mean it's killing you? What a story to tell yourself. It's killing me. It's like, is it really? What do you mean it's killing you? Are you actually dying? I would love to get this guy and coach this guy. Guy, if you're listening, hit me up for coaching. But like, I'd love to coach him and be like, is it actually killing you? Can you show me where in your body it's killing you? Like, where are you actually dying? He'd be like, well, I'm not. Okay, so it's not killing me. Fine, I was exaggerating. It's like, okay, so, you know, it's not killing you at all. You just don't have experience. And you're telling yourself a story of how it's killing you. You're telling yourself a story of how this is the worst thing in the world. Oh my God, like, she's going to hate me for being inexperienced. Why? Just like with everything else, and you know, this guy wouldn't know this concept, and if anyone else is new to the channel, they wouldn't know this, but one of my big philosophies is called give yourself permission to suck. And what I mean there is I say just accept the fact you're probably going to suck at something if you haven't done it. If this guy doesn't have much experience, he's going to suck at going on dates. He's going to suck at talking to girls. Sounds like he already knows how to talk to girls, but like on a date or something, or asking them out for a drink or a coffee, he'll suck at it. That's okay. Like, how could you possibly be good at it when you're this nervous and you haven't done it before and you're scared? You're going to suck. So just say, yep, I'll probably fuck it up the first 5 times. I might need to talk to 10 women before one says yes. I might need to talk to 20 because I might be so nervous. And embrace the fact that there are probably hundreds of thousands of women going to your college, if not tens of thousands. Plenty of opportunities. If you fuck it up 10 times, as long as you're polite, you're not going to get a reputation. No one's going to be like, oh, did you know that guy was really polite and gave me a compliment and then, like, you know, asked if I was single, and then when I said no, he like politely walked off and said, I hope you have a nice day. Like, man, what a fuckboy, what a piece of shit. Like, no. You're being really fucking nice, really fucking respectful, and you're just asking girls out for a coffee. So it's like you have infinite retries. You really do have like a ridiculous number of retries. So don't put this pressure on yourself to be good at this. Like, you're not going to be. And the next thing he says is, you know, the worst part is that I know no girl is going to approach me, so this is all up to me. oh, buddy, like, that's not the worst part. How's that the worst part? That's the most beautiful part.
You can reframe that. It's like you're the one that's in control and can make things happen.
You're a fucking man. Like, grab your nuts. Literally grab your nuts with both hands. Don't do this on college campus because you probably will get kicked off. But grab those nuts, hands straight down the pants, grab the nuts, feel them, gently squeeze them, get sort of a feel for them. This video is not getting monetized now. Massage those testicles, have a big feel, and then say, oh shit, I am a man. Oh my God, there's actually testosterone in this body. Like, I am actually a man. You know what? As a man, that means that I make the moves. This is all up to me. No girl is going to approach me. And, him saying the worst part is this is all up to me. No, that's the best part. Because that means when you're out on a date with a woman and she's sitting across from you and she goes like, I'm really glad I came on this date with you. You're like, bitch, that was all fucking me. And she's like, thank you, I'm really glad. And you're like, yeah, bitch, you better fucking say thank you because this was all me. And then, you go on a couple of dates maybe, you take her back to your place, you lay her down, you're having a good time. You're going to suck at the start. That's okay. You're a virgin. You'll get better with practice. Don't even put pressure on yourself to be good the first couple of times. But you'll have a good time. She'll be like, man, this was really amazing. I'm really glad we met. I had a lot of fun. You're like, this was all me. 100% me. 100% me. You just literally showed up. I did everything. All the credit comes to me. And I'm making I'm not even making a joke. Like, if it is all up to you, which it is, if you do have to make the moves, which you do, if no woman is going to approach you, that means you get all the credit. That means you get to look in your own eyes in the mirror. And trust me, I am someone that, if you don't know my story, I was super fucking depressed, super suicidal, very obese, very unhappy, very miserable, horrible relationships, abusive relationships, all that kind of shit. And I turned it all around over a period of several years of self-improvement. And I'm telling you, it's a beautiful feeling to look in the mirror and say, I fucking did this. This was all me. Other people helped me, and I'm always going to be very grateful to them. But it's a wonderful feeling to know that you did it. And so it's not the worst part that no girl is going to approach you. It's the best part. It's the most beautiful part because you'll never have doubts. You'll never think like, oh, it was 50% me, but it wasn't, all her. It was her too. It's like, no, it was 100% you. You get the credit. So anything you want to add to that?
No. Go talk to, I guess if you're somebody that's in this position, just go say hi to a bunch of women and then ask them on a date. There's no special tricks or there's nothing magical. No. Like, work on yourself, be attractive, aim for above average or greater, and go talk to some women.
Yeah, and like the last part of what this guy said, how do I make a girl like me? It's like, maybe we could do a separate podcast on that. You can't make someone like you. You can't.
Yeah, just do the things.
That's the wrong way of thinking about it.
That would make you like yourself, and then you'll find people that like you.
Yeah, asking someone to... I would really recommend this guy and anyone else who's in a similar sort of headspace or you have the same sort of questions or the same thoughts. Please go and read the book. Byron Katie's book, I Need Your Love, Is That True? Read that book. It's all about the concepts of like, how do I make someone like me? If you're sitting there saying, I need a girl to like me, it's like, no, brother, that's not how love works, or that's not how affection or sex or dating or intimacy or any of that stuff works. It works in the way of you like yourself, or you think you're a high-value male, or whatever you want to call it. You like yourself. You think you're a decent person, a pretty good person. And then you add to someone else's life. You bring them into your life and you share your cool life with them, or you share the fact you like yourself, you share that with them. You say, hey, I like me. I think you'd probably like me too, and if you don't, that's okay. But if you do like me and I like you, sweet, cool. Let's have some fun together. Let's get in a relationship. Let's have sex, whatever we want to do. So I wouldn't be thinking of it in terms of how do I make a girl like me? No, because the only way you're going to do that is manipulation. The only way you're ever going to make someone like you is manipulation. By faking, your actions, or by becoming someone that you're not, like putting on a facade or a mask, pretending, using pickup artist tactics, using manipulation, playing games, lying, telling a woman what you think she wants to hear. You're going to do all of that and worse because you're trying to make her like you. And what happens at the moment she doesn't? It's all going to fall apart and you get super depressed and you go, fuck, I did everything and she still didn't like me. Or, I made her like me, but then she had a day where she was grumpy and she didn't like me. What do I do?
And the other situation is, if you're like, because this guy's obviously looking for a girlfriend, do you want to spend the rest of your indefinite relationship being this person that you've pretended to be, like, forever?
Which is, I think, what the average person does. Or they give up on that and just go back to normal, and then they go like, fuck, you've changed.
Yeah, and
You're
then you
fat and lazy now.
break up a few years later and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like it didn't work out.
Yeah, the answer is always going to be work on your own self-improvement, which this guy sounds like he understands those concepts. He's like, I got to go to the gym again. You know, I've got some friends, I'm playing volleyball. This guy's in a... So, yeah, maybe I was reading it wrong when he says, like, I'm in a good spot. It sounds like he is. In terms of his life, he's in a good spot. Just not his, like, dating life. And his dating life isn't in a bad spot. He's just telling himself that he is. He's in a great spot for his dating life. He just has to go and actually ask out some of the women that he started talking to, or talk to some new women, like walk up to some random women. It sounds like he's good at talking to women. He's just going like, how do I do the dating part? And it's like, you have to say, do you want to do the dating part with me? What do you mean, how do you do it? You have to ask for it. The women aren't mind reading. I think his whole question is basically summed up into like, how can I, you know, get girls to read my mind and give me what I want? And that's like, you can't. Well, you can. You say words. That's why we invented words.
And then they'll give you answers, and then
and then maybe they give you what you want, and you'd be surprised how many women would be like, "Yeah, I'd love to date you," and you're like, "Wait, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Like you're nice. I've seen you around. I like the way you talk to me. Like we have a good time. Sure, I'd love to be, you know, go on a date with you." And you're like, "Oh shit, was that it?" Yes, that's it. So, I think we'll wrap up. If you're in a similar position to this guy and you feel like you're kind of a bit lost and shit, I do offer coaching. I'll leave a link in the description below. I offer group coaching, one-on-one coaching. I'm happy to go through like this kind of stuff. I do like talking about this more beginner stuff. I think it's just not what I usually talk about. So we're usually a little more advanced than this, but reach out if you're in this position. As always, go out there and what do these gentlemen need to do?
Crush your goals.
You got to crush those damn goals.